One of the great additions to any garden are roses. They're really beautiful. But the climbing roses particularly can be a challenge. So here's a few ideas on how to prune them. First, let me show you what I consider a bad example. See, this plant has been allowed to grow naturally, and consequently all the flowers are up here at the top. And what are you looking at the bottom but bare, ugly canes? So by proper pruning, we can correct that. But before we do, don't ever prune roses back like those bush roses over there, because they are properly pruned for a bush rose, but a climbing rose has a different situation. And that is that the cane grows one year, and then it flowers the next year. So if you prune it back severely like the others, you're not going to have any flowers on them. Now, another thing to keep in mind is allow some of these new canes to grow, but get rid of the old ones then, so that you keep renewing the plant. That's really important. And don't worry about, see here how long this new growth is, and sometimes they'll be 2 or 3 times longer than that. Don't worry about that. Still prune the roses at the proper time of the year, in late winter or earliest spring. We don't worry about the new growth at all. But if you keep those things in mind, and we're going to show you how to spread the canes and how to properly grow this rose. So come on with me. Now you can see here the canes have been pulled down, and what's going to happen now is secondary growth grows off of these canes, and that's what flowers. So you have flowers then almost all the way from the ground up, and you're not looking then at those ugly canes. Now this is a little bit kind of disassembled here, and it would be better if you're doing it against a fence or of course on a trellis or against a wall of some kind, that there be maybe a little bit more uniformity. But the important thing is to pull the canes down and get that secondary growth, because that's what actually flowers on a climbing rose. Now I mentioned earlier the importance of saving new canes and getting rid of some of the old canes. This is an old cane here, and you can see by the color of the cane. I didn't point that out before, and that's really important. Those old ones are very obviously old, and get rid of them and encourage new ones to come, and that will revitalize the plant. Now the only pruning that's done, then the following year, you do these, let them grow to the length that you want them, and then tip them on the ends. That's the only pruning you do, except for this upright growth. As you can see, it's cut back quite short. So by cutting this back, that encourages a secondary growth, and your climbing roses are going to be absolutely beautiful.